I am live. All right. Oh. Hello. Hola. ¿Cómo está? What's up? Hi, Shelby. That's silly puppy. Mm. For those of you who are just tuning in, welcome. And welcome to those of you who will watch this after the fact, sometime tomorrow or in the coming days. The channel you have innocently wandered across is One Mike to Live. I'm Mike, and this is Mike at Midnight. I never know one day to the next what my plans are as far as what I'm going to present here at any given time. Sometimes it's poetry, sometimes it's maybe some kind of written word of wisdom or humor. It might occasionally just be a joke. And a lot of my life revolves around music. First off, because I used to be a DJ. Secondly, because I don't want to say that I'm like a entertainer or nothing like that, but yeah, I play guitar and I sing. Then thirdly is, for a living, I drive a big truck, 18-wheeler, 18 plus wheels depending on which trailer I'm pulling. And trucking is one of these types of jobs where it can be very labor intensive at certain moments, and then afterwards it's pretty much just chilling. Some loads, oversized loads, overdimensional, yeah, you might have to pay a little more attention, what I call babysitting the load. But the average load, whether it be secured on a flatbed within the confines of the deck, which means it's not overdimensional at all, or in a van, every now and then I'll have a van load to pull. Pretty much once you get loaded, you put her in the wind and get going. And for the next 4 to 18 hours, depending on how far that load's going, you're basically just drive down the road, listen to your favorite music on the radio. So, I've had jobs where they don't want the radio playing, where maybe you're working in a factory or something, and if in your little area of the factory over there, you got your kind of music playing, and in my area over here, my kind of music playing. Everybody's got these different. It adds a lot of monotony to the day. So therefore, the way they resolve that is to have no music at all, or I've worked places where they plumb in music, what's called Muzak or something like that. It's I don't know. I'm not even sure how it works. I guess it comes across the internet, and but it's supposed to be music to help keep people motivated while they're at work and everything else. That's supposed to be kind of neutral. It's not all rock or country or even hip hop or top 40. It's just a little bit of everything that they feel will keep people being productive. And of course, the factories who choose to use that service, they pay for this. It's a subscription. They pay for that. So for me, like most people, I just have all kinds of music uploaded onto my phone, and I'll plug the phone into the stereo system of the truck on the dashboard and listen to music off my phone through the speaker system. And just drive on down the road, happy music. I got all kinds of different playlists for different genres: alternative rock, classic rock, country, oldies. I got one that's nothing but love songs, and I've got one that's I guess you would call it what would be the word I'm looking for? Would be spiritual, and help kind of get. Sometimes we get so much clutter in our minds, so much garbage, and we are the ones installing the garbage, from the people we hang out with, to the television shows that we watch, to the environments that we place ourselves in. Say, like after work, people go to a pub and have a beer or something like that, and there's a lot of hate and anger and whatever else, in these environments. And after a while, we start feeling yucky because we're full of crud. So every now and then, I'll like to listen to a recording artist. He's dead now. His name is Rich Mullins, and Rich Mullins' music is worshipful, I suppose. Now, obviously, if you don't believe in God, this is not the kind of music you would listen to. But it helps kind of get my focus back on center. And sometimes I get too involved in everything that is my life, to where eventually I feel like I'm being consumed by me. And when that happens, that's what I'll drive down. If I'm stuck on the road on a weekend, and usually that's where I don't hardly attend church anymore. And nothing against those of you who don't believe in God, nothing against those of you who choose not to go to church. In the same way as I respect your belief, I would hope you'd respect mine, that I do believe in God. And I like going to church. I like listening to the preacher preach, and hearing. Of course, in the end, it's still my choice to determine whether or not I want to agree with what the preacher is preaching, and choose to apply whatever I learned that day into my life, or to disregard it and do my own thing. It's still a matter of choice. But the times where I'm really kind of down low, where it just seems like everything's coming at me from all directions, and I realize I don't have what it takes to get through that day emotionally on my own. But I'm like, if you ever remember the Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life, and Jimmy Stewart is there at a bar, and he's at his wit's end because everything's coming all around him. His whole world is imploding, if you will. And so he's sitting there, he's praying or trying to pray at the bar, and he's like, I don't know how to pray God, and this, that, and the other. And next thing you know, the guy finds out who he is and punches him in the mouth because he had upset the guy's wife on the phone. But anyhow, that's me. I'm sometimes you want to talk to God, you just don't know what to say. And that music kind of fills in that void for me, and it helps me to release all the burdens that I am under at that point in time. So, but anyhow, music is a big part of my life, whether it be spiritual, classic rock, alternative rock, old or new. I kind of have country in its own little thing, because some of the older country that I call classic country, which is the Grand Ole Opry kind of stuff, and then anything from the days of Travis Tritt forward, Bocephus on forward, I just consider that just country. I used to be a DJ, so I do every now and then listen to a little bit of hip hop. You'd find in my CD collection even a little bit of a little gangster rap. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. And I used to play that stuff at the club where I worked. But the whole thing with me is probably, if you had put me on a desert island with an electrical outlet, I have power, and I was told I can only have one or the other, and after that you're going to leave me there abandoned, so I have to make sure my mind's made up. I can only have the radio or television, one or the other. I wouldn't even think twice about it, and I'd say, well, give me the radio. A lot of people, and don't get me wrong, I love watching movies, I love watching television, but a lot of people would think that way is, the radio, there's nothing to see. You just listen to music all the time. In fact, sooner or later, you end up listening to the same songs over and over, whereas television, every week, something new. But the thing with television is you have to stop everything you're doing to be able to use it in the manner in which it was intended. You have to stop what you're doing, sit down, and become idle to watch television. Whereas watching, not so much watching, but listening to music, you can listen to music while you're driving, you can listen to music while you're working, you can listen to music while you're in the shower, you can listen to music while you're loving up on your significant other, you can listen to music while you're cooking, cleaning house. I mean, there is no end to the different things that you can accomplish while listening to music. But you can't accomplish much anything while watching television. You know, maybe during the commercials you might get a little something done, but no. Television requires you to stop everything you're doing and devote your complete undivided attention to it. Whereas radio is something that you can do while still being productive in your life. And so that's, without hesitation, I would choose radio over television any day. So the title, as it says, is A Wider Shade of Pale this evening, which is a great old song by Procol Harum. And I found this really interesting. And the book, I've been, every now and then I'll get in there because I don't want to have any copyright issues or anything. You're allowed to share brief passages in the name of education. Okay. But as far as like to sit down here and just pick a book from one cover and maybe do 1, 2, 3 chapters at a time and whatever else and read through it from cover to cover, in doing so, the way the copyright system works, their mentality is that by my having presented it in that manner, you no longer have any reason to go out and buy the book yourself. And therefore, as far as the publishing companies are concerned, I'm cheating them out of money. $7, but just the same. Most books, ballpark, $5-7. So obviously I don't want any issues with that. Since I have had this channel, I've had this channel for a little more than 2 years, but I've only actively been working with it for about a year. And the one day I was driving down the road in my big truck, and what I do is I set my camera up on the little windshield holder to be able to view, like a dash cam, everything's going on in front of me, because you would not believe. Today, the mama and I are driving little old country, little 2-lane country road, paved road, narrow paved road, between Smithville, Arkansas, and in Bowdoin. And here comes a big rig right at us on our side, across the double yellow line. Now, it wasn't like the whole truck was on our side. His right wheels were still in the proper lane, but his left wheels were way over the yellow line, coming over a blind hill, which was also curved, right at us. And we're like, really? You know, of course, he swerved over. It's not like last second we almost run us off the road. Nothing like that. But the point being that had we been farther ahead, he still wouldn't have seen us until it was too late. And who's to say how that would have turned out? You know? So I have that kind of stuff happen to me in a big truck all the time. And especially right here where we live, it's a mountainous area. We're kind of right towards the foothills of the Ozark Mountains. And the roads are hilly and curvy, extremely curvy. And out of, I'm assuming, just sheer laziness, I don't know, people will hug the yellow line and when they come around a left curve, or they'll hug the white line by the shoulder as they come around a right curve, instead of keeping it centered in their lane. And it's frequent around here to find people actually over the yellow line in your lane coming at you around a curve. Very frequent. Of course, the big thing with trucks, slow. Your car weighs, what, 1,200, maybe at the most 1,500 pounds. The truck I'm driving loaded weighs 80,000 pounds. Yeah, it's going to take me, okay, I got more horsepower, sure do. Your car might have 150, 200 horsepower, whereas I've got 500 horsepower, but do the math. 500 horsepower pulling 80,000 pounds as opposed to 150 horsepower pulling 1,000 or 1,500. If you do it in that ratio, your horsepower against your weight, you actually have more engine than I do. I've got a bigger engine, but as far as the weight ratio, how hard that engine's working, you actually have more power in your car than I do in that truck. So obviously I'm slow. And God forbid it should be a grade where I'm having to climb up an incline, loaded, start, the red light turns green. going through the gears and all that traffic lined up behind me, no shoulder that I can't pull over and let them pass. So then when they finally get a chance to pass, they're going to show me for slowing them down and get in front of me and slam on the brakes. Which all that does is screw everybody behind me, because now we got to start this whole, sure, you're in your car, the guy who does this is going to get in his car, and after he slows me down like that and keep going, but all them other people that were behind him, and now slowing me down, they're going to go through this whole process all, and believe it or not, there'll be one or two others that'll do me the same way, because they'll figure I did that brake check on purpose, not realizing the guy that just passed me is the one who caused all that. So the whole idea with the dash cam, hang on one second here, for some reason my battery is not charging like it's supposed to be. So before we have issues with that, let me fix something here. But the that should take care of that. Let's see. Critical. Yep, there we go. Okay. It said battery critically low. Okay. So the main thing with the dash cam idea is I record like a live stream, because that way it doesn't use any data on my phone. At the same time, it allows my wife to, anytime she wants, if she's got notifications that, you know, I've gone live, she can actually sit here and see what I see. And I talk now. I mean, it's right now I've got the backward camera facing me, whereas if I was in the truck, I'd have the front facing camera going. So she doesn't get to see me, unless that's like if I'm setting a stoplight or something, I might go ahead and swap cameras real quick and go high, whatever, and then as soon as the light changes, get going again. But it allows her the ability to be with me without being with me. Right there, wherever he's at. We have noticed there's like a 1.5 minute delay, but it allows us to spend more time together as husband and wife, even though I'm out on the road, as opposed to going all day long without hearing from me at all until around 10 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock, whenever we finally get time to start talking on the phone. Also, it gets people who, I find that there's several channels that do this, that live, guy driving in his truck, and one guy has a camera, it's 24/7 live. Wherever, if he's asleep in the bunk, you're going to see the trucks parked across the aisle from him at the truck stop for the next 8-10 hours. That's it. You tune in, same view as it was 20 minutes ago, okay? But I found there's several channels that do that. But the main reason I do it is so that in the event of a road rage incident and not being able to avoid contact with the vehicle doing the brake check in front of me, that I have video proof. And I would let the video keep rolling. I wouldn't just, I got you now, dude, and save it. No, I would let the live stream keep going until the cops get there. And then once the cops get there, then go ahead and close it out and save it. Because now I have proof. First off, there's anything that person says, I'll make sure to stay, of course, close to the driver's side door, shut the engine off so that anything he says can be heard by the microphone. Plus, when the cop comes to look the rear end of that vehicle and the front end of my vehicle, he'll be on the screen also. So I now have proof of what time all that happened. You know, because I think when you do these live streams, after you save them later, it simply says something like 2 hours ago. You know, there's no specific timestamp on them. So that's why I do that. But the one day I was coming across US 82 in the I can't remember the name of that city down there now. Anyway, come across the lower half of Arkansas, going west to east toward Greenville, Mississippi. In fact, went through Greenville, Mississippi, stopping at the Love's Truck Stop in Indianola. And all the while, I had my phone plugged in to this car stereo, and the music is playing in the background. Now, mind you, I first off, I'm not monetized, which I know my theory of this and YouTube's theory and the government's theories are all different. But in my opinion is, if I'm playing the music that I legally possess, either because I bought it on CD and put it on my phone, or because I downloaded it legally from a music app or whatever, and I'm not trying to pass it off as my own. I'm not using it as, hey, check out this, ain't I cool? I got great taste in music. Now y'all go ahead and subscribe to my channel and pay me money for being a DJ trucker. You know, nothing like that. But nonetheless, by simply having music playing in the background, you are in violation of copyright laws. I disagree with that, but it doesn't matter what I agree or disagree with. The law is the law, and in the end, however they say is the way it's going to go, like it or not, there it is. So I had to remove that video because I got 4 emails from YouTube telling me basically I was copyright in violation, and it actually, one of those emails was a list in order of every single song that appeared in the background of that playing, and across the speakers, that every single song that was heard playing in that video. And I was like, no way. And it's a song list, it's playlist. So obviously, yeah, I could hit the random button, let it select them any way they want, but I don't. I just let it play through. And I've heard all my playlists so many times that I know which song's coming up next. So, all the same, now we're doing the low battery thing again. Let me see something. The ultimate no-no, I guess, is to be playing with your phone while you're doing a live stream. But it won't be live for long if I... Well, right now it's just you and me, baby. So, I never know who might be here tomorrow and be saying, hey, man, stop messing with the phone while you're doing your live streams. So anyway, in the end, I decided I would rather keep my channel, because what they'll do is first if you don't remove the video, they'll strike it, and then I don't know if it's 2 or 3 strikes you out kind of a thing, but yeah, it'll get to a point where they'll go ahead and they'll just delete your channel. It's like being at Pinterest. God forbid you should do something at Pinterest. I got email at Pinterest one time. They closed my account because I saved too many photos of one particular genre. Say, for example, muscle cars. I like muscle cars. And if I save too many of those, they feel somehow I'm a computer or a machine or something that's somehow trying to use Pinterest to profit off of my own little deal, No, when I'm bored, I'm sitting there waiting to get loaded or unloaded. Everything I do involves being loaded or unloaded with a crane or a forklift. So I'm in the truck going, oh, cool. Yeah, I like that one. Oh, I like that one. Oh, yeah, save this one here. But nonetheless, Pinterest is... Anyway. So that was the whole idea there. And because of that, I'm trying to be very careful. All that to explain this. I'm trying to be very careful with copyright issues. I've talked to some other channels out here, and... Scott's Thoughts and a few others, where they are reading literature, copyrighted literature, published literature, and they said they've had no issues. And that's fine, but I would rather be safe than sorry, that kind of thing. So what I do is I will not read the entire book ever. There will... If I do that, then again, I've given you no reason to go out and purchase the book for yourself. Not to say that you want to, but you might, and et cetera, et cetera. So I always make sure to reference everything. The book I'm referring to this evening is called Blinded by the Lyrics by Brent Mann. And you think blinded by the lyrics, like blinded by the light by the Manfred Mann Band. So I don't know if somehow Manfred and Brent or kin or what, but it's coincidence, maybe not. It is a Citadel Press, Kensington Publishing Corporation, New York, copyright 2005 publication. And as the title to this sequence says, is A Wider Shade of Pale by Procol Harum, which is a great song. It's the minute you hear that very first organ tone, you know what it is. You know the old name. I forget who the MC was on the TV show. Name that tune, and we basically, you and I will debate back and forth. Who can name the next tune. I can name it in 5 notes, 4 notes, 3. Well, it gets down to 3 notes. You're like, man, there ain't a whole lot of anything I know by 3 notes. So I'm going to say, okay, name that tune. They'll play it. And if you can't name that tune, then you don't get the points for it. I don't remember how the whole thing went. But the point is, in this song here, if you were to be so fortunate as that this song come up is what you were going to have to name, you'd be able to name it in 1 note. All it takes is just that one note with that organ, and you already know what this song is. You know. So it's a great song. It's got a little bit interesting story to it, which is what I'm going to share with y'all here. And part of it is the thing with music is that they find ways of saying things without saying them directly. And in a way, I mean, when I say poetry, I don't necessarily mean poetry because it rhymes, but poetic in a way of using the language as a means of romanticism to explain a point or to help someone visualize. So the part that is really peculiar here, because I've got to admit, it is something that you just sing along with the recording, but you never really stop to think, what's that even mean? It says, we skipped the light fandango, turned cartwheels across the floor. And it goes into this what fandango is, but the idea being back then too was, you know, back in the 60s, there were those who, how should we say, were enlightened spirits. They recreational drug use. I mean, I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but that was another reason for the way they would change words and use phrases and things of that didn't necessarily make sense. They didn't make sense to the people who were considered square. And they would do that so that they could basically, because there were always censors. There was always censorship. You're not allowed to sing about this. You're not allowed to sing about that. You're not allowed to say this, you know, and what have you. So they found other ways to do that, especially when talking and singing about drug use. They found other ways to do that without violating the law by coming up with clever little phrases and terms. So, as a little side note here is Francisco Castiglione, singing to no one in particular, wandered the street singing in Italian, a wider shade of pale. The lyrics made as much sense in his mother tongue as they do in English, which is to say they didn't make sense at all. And that is a quote from David Gonzalez of the New York Times, May 18th, 2004. Now, Mr. Brent Mann writes, we've heard of revelers tripping the light fantastic on the sidewalks of New York, but skipping the light fandango? For almost 40 years, the opening line to A Wider Shade of Pale, not to mention the whole rest of the song, has had listeners from Birmingham, England to Birmingham, Alabama, searching their heads. Heck, even certain members of Procol Harum itself were baffled by the tune. Consider what the band's organist, Matthew Fisher, told BBC Radio back in March of 2000 about the lyrics to this famous track. I don't know what they mean. Fisher went on to tell the BBC audience, I don't give a damn what they mean. You know, they sound great. That's all they have to do. And I get that. The song, whether it makes sense to you or not, the song sounds awesome. It's a great song. So, it doesn't have to make sense. You still can sit there and listen to it and groove to it and whatever else. But by the same token, yeah, I wouldn't mind knowing what we're singing about, right? Keith Reed, who penned the lyrics to A Wider Shade of Pale, on the other hand, has always maintained the song's scrutability, calling We Skip the Light Fandango straightforward. Inasmuch as the word fandango can be defined as a provocative Spanish courtship dance performed in triple time. Wow. triple times really fast. Okay. um, I'm not sure how that turned into a courtship dance, but just the same, performed in triple time. It's clear that A Wider Shade of Pale tells the story of an intense, frenzied love affair between a man and a woman. Frenzied would be the right word, triple time. This couple dances, drinks, and cavorts, but ultimately the relationship dissolves, the record ending on a note of loss and resignation. What you're not... Oh, is what? You're not buying the love gone sour interpretation? Fair enough. There's always the charming drug death angle, which holds that the entire song is about a guy who dies from doing too much. Then it says in parentheses, insert illegal drug name here. Illegal substance here. People who make this particular argument cite the title to bolster their claim, saying things like, come on, it's obvious. The phrase, a wider shade of pale, plainly refers to a dead body drained of all life and color by years of drug abuse. A third read on the tune contends that Gary Brooker is simply singing about, to use the English vernacular, a bloke getting pissed. And I'm assuming that means drunk. The tune describes an unsteady, nauseous, yet at the same time dreamy feeling of finding oneself well and truly drunk. Yeah. So it's been widely reported that the name Procol Harum derives from a Latin phrase meaning far from these things or beyond these things. In actuality, though, the Latin for far from these things is procul, Procul, not procol, Procol. So what's been circulating all these years is a rock and roll urban legend. Another story has Procol Harum as the name of a cat owned by a friend of Guy Stevens, the legendary British record producer. This tale appears speculative as well. The truth is that no one really knows or can clearly remember precisely how this band from London was tagged with their curious name. And it's funny because I had no clue until 2 hours ago that was going to be the passage I was going to read today. Yesterday or day before, I had come across several music videos on YouTube, and on 2 or 3 different playlists that song came up. So, and I again had no clue that's where I was going to stop tonight until I come up with that. So, but nonetheless, so it's just you and me, huh, baby. Tomorrow there'll be somebody coming by. So for those of you who check this out later, thanks for coming by. Y'all have a really good evening. Hope you found that interesting. The whole thing with music is music can do so much. Music can take you out of a bad mood and bring you back into a good spirit, or you could be in good spirits and it can make you in a bad mood or feeling depressed or sorrowful. Television can do that too. Let's face it, you watch a lot of these what we call tear jerkers, or guys will call them chick flicks. You know, a lot of those they grab at your heartstrings emotionally. You know, but even that still requires you to stop everything to pay attention to it, or it won't work. If you're just listening to the television while you're cooking supper, it's not going to have that same effect on you. You have to actually be watching it to be stirred emotionally. Whereas the music can reach in even when you're not paying attention to it. The proof of this is the I can't remember the name of the song. It was kind of a song that was back in the 60s that they said it would, maybe it's the 50s, late 50s maybe, or 60s, that it would actually cause people to become agitated and before long start fighting. And I can't remember, it was like a rumble rumble kind of a song. There's no singing in it. It was all just music. But and a guy named Mike Harvey, who used to do a radio show called syndicated radio show called Super Gold, and on the weekends. And it turns out that he said they were right. That particular track caused more fights at dances and stuff than ever anybody would have anticipated. But yeah, it's without, even my wife and I, we sit here a lot of times. Right now I'm off. I'm home nursing an injury, and which I'm doing better by the way, y'all. It's, I'm not to the point. Today we went for a little walk, and I realized that okay, I'm not quite fully healed yet. The swelling has gone down, but the bruising is just about the turning from purple down to that kind of grayish brown color. But the pain, yeah, after I started walking for a little while, I was like, I just need to get off my foot for a little bit. But so I'm not done healing, but I'm getting there. But a lot of times we'll sit here in the evenings, and Miss Elaine likes to read. So she'll be sitting there in one chair reading a book, and I'll be sitting next to her either reading a book myself or playing around on the phone on YouTube, or I'll be watching a movie or something. And we spend our time together like that. But even with books, books can transport you places too. The great thing about the written word is if it's written in such a manner that the writer can keep your attention, you will literally tune everything out around you and just literally become into the story just like you do watching movies. But again, you have to stop what you're doing and give it your complete and undivided attention. There are books on tape, and I've got some books on tape, but it's not the same because while you're listening to the narrator driving down the road, you aren't giving the story your complete attention because you're paying attention to other things. And a lot of times I'd actually have to go ahead and back to what did he just say and back that up again, or just let it keep playing, and suddenly I don't understand what he's talking about because I missed a portion of the story while I was paying more attention to traffic than the story itself. Whereas with music, especially this music we're familiar with, our favorite songs, from when we're our younger days, we already know the words most of the time, and by hearing that, it transports us in time. Maybe not always to the point of where you're suddenly in the realm of what the song is about, but maybe just simply backward to a day when you first heard that song. I'm not a big fan of this song anymore. I remember as a kid, I loved it. I thought it was a great AM. Pardon me. It was a great AM radio tune, and it was called "Afternoon Delight," which of course is about a couple making love in the middle of the day. As a child, I didn't know that, and I remember hearing the part about sky rockets in flight, and that was the thing. And I was in maybe the 4th or 5th grade, 6th grade, I don't remember. I was a young kid though, and I remember the first time I ever heard that, I was at the public swimming pool in Calumet City, Illinois, where I was raised, and hearing that through the loudspeakers, running up the high dive and jumping. Of course, I'd never dive; I was just pulling cannonball, and just run off and get out the pool and go back again. I'd hear that song over and over throughout the day. I'd spend the whole day at the pool, and but yeah, it's suddenly takes you like if it was just yesterday. When you hear a song that you're familiar with, it won't always be about good memories or bad memories. Just the memory in general takes you back to another day. So yeah, without music, oh man, I don't know that life would be worth living, honestly. Don't mean to sound depressing, but just with the thought of going through without having the ability to listen to music, or even like what I do with my song lyrics and guitar playing and everything, I just can't picture life not having that. I really can't. So anyhow, I'm gonna wrap this up. Apologize for rambling tonight, because I didn't necessarily intend on doing that. I try to do these in such a manner as, of course, I'm still under an hour, so we're doing good. But it was my intention to try to do maybe a quick little 20-30 minute deal here and say thanks for coming by. And it never turns out that way. I think maybe once, maybe I have to go back and look. Maybe once I've actually had one of these that I kept it under 30 minutes. Very rare. So for those of you who have followed this all the way through to the end, thank you. I appreciate you coming by. And no telling what there'll be for the next Mike at midnight, but whatever it is, I will try to make sure it's something interesting. Meanwhile, y'all be good to each other. And I say that with every bit of my heart behind that. You know, y'all, because everywhere we go, you war and murder and rape and mayhem, and people are mad. They don't even know why. You know, everyone's either wanting to fight everybody or kill everybody or hate everybody. And hate is like cancer. If you start feeding hate, it just grows and it eats away your soul little by little. You know? So only you can stop it. Now, we can't change the world. I wish we could. I wish that all I had to do was start being nice to people and everyone would stop fighting. I wish it was that simple. It's not. But I can change the immediate portion of the world where I reside. This little space right here, anything that I can reach, I can change that atmosphere around me. And that's what I do. Anybody who enters into that atmosphere, I try to be polite. I try to be nice and sociable to people. Like Chicky yesterday. Now, I'm not a violent man. I'm not. But first off, even if my wife had it coming, which she didn't, even if she had it coming, I'm not going to stand idly by while you cuss her and call her names because you misunderstood when she looked up to see who came in the door. You know. But yeah, if that was going to get ugly, and I'd have hoped she'd have hit me, because I live in my world. I don't live in the world. I live in my world, and in my world, I'm not going to disrespect you unless you disrespect me first. But if you disrespect me, I'm coming back at you. I'm a man. I ain't no little boy. I'm a grown man. And the way I look at it, man, woman, or child steps up in the boxing ring with me, decides to start laying hands on me, they knew I was a man when they hit me. So I'm not gonna think to myself, oh, this is a little kid, or oh, this is a woman. If you're gonna hit back, you can't hit back as hard. The hell I can't. I'm a man and they know it. It's like I said about Mike Tyson yesterday. If you step into the ring with Mike Tyson and start calling him every kind of foul thing there is to call him, and start laying hands on Mike Tyson, you're not going to get hit by Mike Tyson trying to be gentle because, well, I'm the boxer and they ain't. No, you're going to get hit by Mike Tyson. Boom, boom, you know. And you deserve to. It was Mike Tyson that you went up against, and you knew it was Mike Tyson when you went up against him. And so that's my theory. I don't lay hands on nobody. Man, woman, or child. I ain't trying to go through my day looking for fights. Not at all. But I'm Irish. I'm not going to back down from a fight either. Even if my adversary is twice my size, yeah, it would be in my best interest to try to find a less physical way to resolve that conflict. But if that can't be done, well, I might not be the victor of this one, but I ain't gonna be the only one wearing damage when it's done either. And if that woman would have sat there and kept on yesterday, and if God forbid she'd have decided she's gonna lay out and what do I say, AT&T reach out and touch some, I'm gonna reach out right back. Yes, ma'am. So, y'all, there's stuff like that makes all the stress in the world worse. And I suppose my thing is to try to find ways to resolve those kinds of conflicts. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes that's what someone wants, they want to fight you, you're going to have to just fight. There it is. So, but nonetheless, always try to find a peaceable way to exist with each other first. And what Patrick Swayze said in that movie Roadhouse, no matter what, be nice. If they call you this, if they didn't, be nice. And, well, what if this, that, and the other? He's, be nice. Be nice until it's time to not be nice. So there is a time where there's no other option. Then you do what you got to do. But always try to be good to each other first. If that don't work, then go alternate plan B. But start with plan A. That being said, I'm going to get off here. Y'all have a real good day. Thanks for stopping by. You only got one life to live. Get out there and live it. But don't live it at the expense of others. Take care.